There is a quiet moment many women remember when they realize their body is being watched and judged not for what it can do but for how it looks. It might happen in a mirror or in a locker room or through a comment said with a smile that does not feel kind. That moment often stays longer than we expect. It shapes choices slowly. It tells us what to avoid and what to hide. At first, this story sounds like it is about fitness or sports or even confidence. But if we listen carefully, it is really about permission. Permission to take up space. Permission to be strong without apology. Permission to see health as something active rather than decorative. To understand this, we need to look at the world many girls grow up in. From an early age, they receive mixed messages. Be capable but not too powerful. Be healthy but not too visible. Be active but stay within a narrow shape. These messages do not arrive all at once. They arrive slowly through images, stories, jokes, and praise. Over time, they form a background voice that feels normal. This is the context where the first surface idea appears. Strength feels risky for women. Not physically risky but socially risky. Lifting heavy things is framed as something that changes how you look and how you are seen. So the simple belief forms that strength leads to loss of acceptance. Many women do not say this out loud, but they feel it. They choose activities that promise control over appearance rather than growth of ability. They move to burn calories, not to build capacity. They stay busy but not strong. Yet under the surface idea sits a deeper assumption. The assumption is that the main job of the female body is to be seen rather than to function. Once this assumption is in place, health choices shift. Exercise becomes about shrinking, not supporting. Food becomes about rules, not fuel. Time becomes something to postpone care until later. This assumption is powerful because it feels polite and familiar. It is reinforced when strength is praised in men and questioned in women. It is reinforced when gyms are divided without words into spaces that welcome some bodies and quietly discourage others. Over time, this shapes behavior across a whole lifespan. This leads us to a larger structural pattern. Systems reward what they display. Media shows thinness more often than strength. Fitness spaces show machines more often than free movement for women. Medical systems treat symptoms later rather than support muscle earlier. None of this is planned by one person. It emerges from repeated habits and incentives. When a system rarely shows women lifting, then women assume lifting is not for them. When health messages focus on weight instead of function, people chase numbers instead of resilience. The result is a slow drift away from the one thing that protects the body across time. Muscle. Not as a look but as a living support system. Muscle helps regulate sugar. Muscle supports joints. Muscle protects balance. Muscle reduces the risk of many long-term illnesses. Yet because muscle does not fit the old story of femininity, it is treated as optional. The reframing begins when we stop asking how bodies should look and start asking how bodies should last. This is a quiet but powerful shift. Strength training stops being a performance and becomes a form of care. It meets people where they are. It adapts to age, stress, injury, and time limits. It does not require a perfect routine or special tools. It requires only the choice to apply small effort again and again. Think about daily life. Carrying groceries without pain. Getting up from the floor with ease. Playing with children without fear of injury. Walking steadily as years pass. These are not dramatic goals, but they are deeply human ones. When strength is framed this way, it becomes less threatening. It becomes practical. It becomes kind. This perspective also changes how we see time. Many people believe they will take care of health later when life is calmer. But life rarely becomes calmer. Responsibilities grow. Energy shifts. Waiting feels harmless until the body begins to send signals. Fatigue, stiffness, loss of confidence. These signals are easy to ignore because they arrive slowly. But muscle loss is quiet too. It does not announce itself. It simply reduces margin. Tasks feel harder. Recovery takes longer. Risk increases without a clear moment of change. The everyday application is not about becoming an athlete. It is about building a habit that respects future needs. Lifting does not mean heavy weights in a loud gym. It can mean body weight movements at home. It can mean bands or simple tools. It can mean short sessions done consistently. The work required to gain benefit is often much less than imagined. The key is repetition, not intensity. Progress, not perfection. When women see others like them moving with strength, the fear eases. Role models matter not because they are impressive but because they are relatable. Seeing strength in many forms breaks the old link between muscle and rejection. It opens space for new identity. One where care for the body is not delayed or hidden. There is also an emotional layer that deserves attention. Strength builds confidence not because of appearance but because of trust. Trust that the body can handle stress. Trust that effort leads to growth. This trust spills into other areas. Decision-making becomes firmer. Boundaries become clearer. Fatigue becomes information rather than failure. Strength training teaches patience. It teaches that progress is uneven but real. These lessons matter beyond the gym. They counter the old message that the body is a problem to manage. Instead, the body becomes a partner to support. As this idea deepens, it becomes clear that culture changes slowly but individuals can change sooner. Each woman who chooses strength quietly rewrites the script for those watching. Children notice. Friends notice. Communities notice. The change does not come from arguing against old myths but from living new examples. When strength looks normal, the fear fades. When health is visible, the stigma weakens. This is not about rejecting softness or care. Strength includes rest, nourishment, and recovery. It is not about pushing harder but about showing up regularly. It is not about proving something to others but about preparing for life. Over time, the question shifts from should I lift to why would I not? Especially when the cost is low and the return is high. The final reflection is not urgent or loud. It is gentle and personal. If strength supports health across time and if the barriers are mostly stories we inherited, then the real work is deciding which stories to keep. So as you think about your body today and the years ahead, ask yourself this. What would change if you treated strength not as a threat to who you should be but as a foundation for who you want to become?